What's up guys, Ghost here, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the changes to the community map project. But first, I'd like to mention that there are currently a few 60Hz and even a 120Hz tick rate server active on the CTE for testing. This was something we thought was impossible when Battlefield 4 first reared its previously ugly head, but what can I say? It's magic. The magicians over on the CTE have done it again. So go and give these servers a try. I wouldn't get your hopes up for 120Hz servers anytime soon, but this really bodes well for any future games running on the Frostbite 3 engine in the future, such as Battlefront and even the next Battlefield game. It seems DICE are reluctant to make the same mistakes they did with Battlefield 4, which is a very good thing. But now let's get on to the jungle map. So the scale for the map has pretty much been nailed down at this point, and DICE are really trying to flesh out some of the objective areas thematically with buildings and such. You've no doubt seen multiple videos on this already, I know, but I wanted to throw in some of my own thoughts anyway, so here we go. So this is the new map after the latest changes. As you can see, they've moved the B objective a little further north to encompass the waterfall as one of its major features. Obviously, something we were all asking for. It seemed pretty pointless to put in a feature like a waterfall when we would seldom actually be fighting around it. You can also see all the trees and the foliage, especially around C flag, reflected on the map. So there's quite a lot of cover there to push in on that objective from all sides. So let's start with the big one first, B objective. As requested, they've stuck in a large temple-like structure with the waterfall hanging over the top there, and I believe they plan to move the temple into a recess within the mountain wall, thereby creating an overhang for the waterfall. Now at the moment I would say that the temple is a little underwhelming. I feel that it's partly due to the fact we haven't really gotten that epic Battlefield atmospheric feel into the map yet. The thematic goal for this objective sounds really cool when they talk of fighting through and behind the waterfall with that watery mist being thrown back up all around you like being at Niagara Falls, you know? And I think when they push the objective into the mountainside, it'd be really cool to see a blanket of water, sort of like a veil, down one side of the objective, partially obscuring the vision of outside players. They could also make the temple look like it's ancient and it's been reclaimed by the forest with vines and various overgrowth all over. Now obviously, they simply haven't gotten to that stage of development yet, and the waterfall really just looks like somebody taking a leak off the side of a cliff. But I reckon they could also increase the scale of the temple itself. I would have loved to see something similar to an ancient Buddhist temple on a larger scale that you can go inside of. Maybe have the waterfall pouring down through the center of the temple into a river below. After all, this really is supposed to be the big iconic centerpiece of the map when you compare it to the other flags. Now attacking wise, there's essentially two ways to approach this objective. The first is by leaping into the trench or moat that surrounds the temple and climbing up or walking over one of two bridges, and the other is by going into one of the many waterways and climbing a ladder. Why you'd have a ladder in an old ancient temple, I don't know, but I guess we'll just have to roll with it. Perhaps they should turn them into a cluster of overgrown vines instead, just for authenticity's sake. Going up the ladders was a death trap most of the time. They seem very easy to cover from the back of the temple, not to mention a nade fest. So moving on, let's talk about the ghost town, Objective C. This is supposed to be an encampment which once housed labourers for the nearby logging camp, whom have since abandoned the area due to the outbreak. So once again, not really feeling very atmospheric or ghostly just yet, but I'm sure that will change. Not many changes to the actual objective area here in itself, but the mountainside surrounding this flag have gotten much more attention. As you can see, there are lots of rock formations all over which really create channels and tunnels for infantry players to funnel down and storm the objective without being detected or picked off by snipers. Before, it was just really a barren hillside on either side of the flag where snipe-offs would take place, so good stuff there. The logging camp, Objective D, I like this objective because it's one of the few open areas on the map due to the deforestation that took place there, obviously. And then paired up with this objective you have E-Flag, the palm oil plantation. Not a whole lot to say about these two really. Open areas, a few bits of cover in the form of rocks, a downed helicopter, and some reused template structures that we've already seen before. Not the most interesting of objectives, honestly. Finally, there's A-Flag, the medical clinic where testing of a biological weapon on monkeys took place. And apparently, the monkeys breached the facility, leaving everything in disarray, so hopefully we'll see some interesting art going on here. Maybe even a few monkeys leaping from tree to tree. We got parrots on Parasol Storm, so why not monkeys? But once again, nothing terribly interesting here. Template buildings, again, the same destructive ones you'll be familiar with from maps like Zavod or Propaganda. So gameplay-wise, I would say overall I'm liking the map. The scale's good, the setting is good, and the theme for each objective sounds good if they can nail that atmospheric feel to the map. At the moment, the logging camp and plantation just don't really excite me in the slightest. They feel like so many other objectives I've fought over in previous other maps. The medical clinic just feels like I'm fighting over B-Flag on Zavod. So I think these objectives really need some attention to detail and something interesting added to them. Somebody on a previous video actually suggested having rope bridges. Perhaps rope bridges that connected from some of the less interesting objectives over to the top of the temple or over to the mountain at C-Flag that the labourers could have constructed right before they left or they were wiped out or whatever. Imagine that all overgrown, with vines tangled around them and some wooden planks missing here and there, requiring a sprinting jump to surpass them. You could even turn one of them into like a mini evolution event where the bridge snaps in the middle, falling down beside the tree it was attached to only act as a ladder. You know, in one of Luton's videos, he suggested having a minigun on the down chopper at E-Flag. Just something, anything to make them feel different than all the other objectives we've already spent hundreds of hours fighting over. That being said, I do like the C-Flag a lot. It's fun to fight over, it feels different than the other objectives, as does the temple. Like I said, a little bit underwhelming, but I can imagine the potential for the amazing atmosphere that Waterfall could create. But those are just my 2 cents, guys. I would love to hear yours down below in the comment section. After all, this is a community map project, so everyone is welcome to contribute to it and its development. So I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Leave a like down below if you did, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.